One of the really nice features of this workbench is that large contrasting end cap with the dovetail. Now on this bench, the end cap is more than just a good looking bit of wood. It also houses the tail vise, which means it has to be strong. Now in order for it to gain that strength, we need a really large tenon for the end cap to sit on. Now in my plans, I suggest that be about 25 millimeters long or 1 inch by about 50 millimeters thick, which is roughly 2 inches. Now, like always, these are just guidelines, and if you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can do so. But just keep in mind, you do want it to be fairly substantial because the amount of pressure that comes from a tail vise can really be quite high. Now, the way I'm going to be cutting this tenon is using my plunge-based router and the same jig that we use with our circular saw, so our double-sided fence. This first line here just shows the depth of the tenon, so that's where we want our router bit to be cutting to. Now this second line is the offset between the edge of my router bit and the base of my router. Now I've used my big square here to draw both of those lines, and now I'm just going to align this double-sided fence to that line. Now it's fairly unlikely that your slab is going to be a full 90 millimeters thick, so the plan's measurements are definitely just a guideline here. Now we want our tenon to be 50 millimeters thick, so we just find the center of our slab, which we mark, and then from the center line we just mark 25 millimeters up. Now this line here is where we set our router bit's depth. Okay, so I've cut the first side of the tenon here and that's come out really nice. And I've just flipped the bench over, so now the bottom is facing up. Now, with this jig here, with these two parallel, fences, we don't have to worry about doing any more alignment because, it's already set from the previous cut. Okay, so our tenon is the correct thickness now, so it's dead on 50, so I got lucky the first time round, and it's almost finished. All we have to do is cut the short shoulder here, so when we put the end cap on, the tenon isn't exposed, because we want that to be nice and hidden. But all we have to do is, from this shoulder to this shoulder, connect the lines, and then using something like a razor saw or just a hand saw with a thin kerf, just sort of connect from this shoulder to that shoulder. So we'll use a marking knife, mark that line, and then carefully just cut in to the thickness of one of our laminations. Okay, to start the cut, I'm sort of putting pressure up against the blade onto this shoulder. And at the same time, I'm watching that line that I just scribed on the side here, so making sure that the saw is tracking down that line. Okay, so I have now established the top cut all the way to that lamination, so now I'll start angling my blade to be more horizontal, and now I only really have to worry about looking at this side face here and checking the underside that I'm not cutting away from that shoulder. So with a sharp chisel, I'm going to stick it in that glue line, at least very close to it, and then just split it away. Okay, so there's just a very slight ridge in there. So holding our chisel firmly on the shoulder here, which we know is nice and straight. We'll just cut away now. Make sure you don't slide your fingers in front there, because if you slip, you'll take a nice chunk out, so make sure it's nice and behind that shoulder there. Okay, so that's our tenon cut. Now, if you want a little bit more detail on that double-sided fence, I will be putting a video up on my blog going into a bit of detail about how it's made and the different sort of uses. So if you head over to youtube.com/jwsblog and just keep an eye out there, that video will be up within a couple of days, if not hours. Now that's going to do it for this video. So in the next video, we're actually going to look at cutting the mortise in the end cap here and getting that aligned nicely. So we'll be using just Forstner bits, chisels, and if you have a drill press is the perfect solution, but if not, you can do it using a hand drill as well. So, so far, I hope that this has been fairly easy to follow along with, because it is a simple build. It's just a bit daunting because of the size of it. I've decided for this workbench video series, I'm going to be doing 2-3 videos a week, which are a lot shorter, so only 5 to 7 minutes. Now, the reason I've chosen to do that is because there's so much information being put out in these videos. If I make it any longer, it's going to be incredibly boring, I dare say, and there's not going to be, I don't think a lot of you would actually make it through to the very end. So you're going to be getting the same amount of content, just in 2 to 3 shorter videos every week. That said, some weeks I might not be able to get a full 3 videos out, so you might only see 1, but I'm aiming for 3. So apologies for those that do like the longer videos, but just in order for me to stay sane throughout the editing process, I do need to make them shorter. So if you're enjoying this build, let me know, leave a comment below, like the video, you know, just always good to hear from you. And subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button down low so you get notified of the future videos that are going to come. So once again, thanks for watching. Head over to my website, check that out. We've got the plans available for this bench, so head over there and just go to the shop, so georgewoodshop.com. And also, if you're on Facebook, I'd like to see you guys over there as well. So I do quite a few posts on there of sort of pictures and behind the scenes and whatnot. So head over there and like that page and say g'day. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.